Joining us to talk about Tulsi Gabbard, who is the pick for Director of National Intelligence, and Kash Patel, the pick for CIA, is none
FBI.
other than the FBI. Oh, sorry, FBI, my bad. None other than Zeteo's founder, Mehdi Hasan.
Hey, how's it going?
Terrible.
Well, I feel much safer knowing that Tulsi Gabbard will be the head of our DNI. So I feel much safer, Mehdi. How about you?
Well, I put out a piece this week pointing out that in 2019, an enemies list, quote unquote, leaked from the Tulsi Gabbard presidential campaign from an online volunteer listing people who they don't like and wanted to go after to block on social media. And yours truly was at the top of that list. So always good to find out you're at the top of an enemies list for someone who's about to control the CIA, the NSA, and the DIA.
I mean, let's talk about Tulsi. Before we go to some of the clips, I mean, what are the biggest... There's a million red flags, but for you, and I know you put out a piece also that everyone should read, things you didn't know about Tulsi or things you should know about Tulsi. What are the biggest red flags for her being in control of, national intelligence like this?
Oh, so many. Where to begin? As I point out in the piece, she is someone who is super hawkish, but has a fake reputation for being super dovish, which many on the left, Francesca, people you and I like, including in the Bernie Sanders campaign, helped her develop and spread. And I think the Bernie Sanders campaign made a mistake having her as a co-chair back in the day. She pushed this image of being a dove when actually she's a hawk. She supported Russia's bombing of Syria. Even today, she said, I hate Al-Qaeda. She's a real war on terror person. She's very George Bush, Dick Cheney-like when it comes to the war on terror. She's a big fan of all of that. She's very close to Narendra Modi, far-right Prime Minister of India. She's very close. She was very close to Bashar al-Assad. She visited him twice in one secret meeting and basically came back and echoed Assad talking points about chemical weapons, about attacks on civilians, etc., etc. She's super close to Israel. She was hanging out with Miriam Adelson and Shmuley Boteach back in the day when even was pretending to be a leftist. She's like so many other people in this MAGA movement. And she's a bit of a grifter, just goes where the power and attention and money is. She was this kind of mainstream Democrat, then leftist Democrat, then centrist Democrat, then Fox host, then Trump person. It's hard to take people that seriously when you're shifting your views on a dime like every few months.
I just want to like drill down on like national intelligence and the cozying up to some of these dictators, the Trumps of other places like Assad, like Modi, and people who have gone after vis-a-vis, silencing, their any dissidents or any opposition parties, using digital means, but also paying people. Like, how compromised do we know or do we think Tulsi Gabbard is?
I don't know the answer to that question. I would just add a caveat, which is like we're all on the left of the political spectrum, and we should recognize that across Washington, D.C., across parties, politicians in America support dictators, right? We see, this is not unique to Tulsi Gabbard. Let's say Tulsi Gabbard disappeared. Tomorrow they pulled her nomination because she's under votes. The next person they nominate for DNI will be a defender of some dictator or another abroad. Unfortunately, that is American politics. In fact, Senator Tom Cotton said this week, said the quiet part out loud. He said it's not about, we shouldn't support people who are pro-democracy, anti-democracy. We should only look at which leader is pro-America or anti-America, which was quite nice of him to say bluntly what American foreign policy is. He's a bastard, but he's our bastard. So in that sense, she's not that unique. What bothers me is she's completely unqualified. She is out there. Like I say, it's one thing to be like pro-dictator. Nancy Pelosi went and had a meeting with Assad too, which many on the MAGA right are pointing out. But Tulsi went secretly. She went with a weird bunch of Assad supporters. And then she came back and literally echoed kind of Assad Russian talking points. That's what's quite worrying, obviously, if you're director of national intelligence.
And her staffers, the staffers, when she went and had that secret meeting, they had no idea where she was. And also her staffers have said that she used to bring in pro-Russia talking points, RT memos.
Treated like Russia Today, like a credible media source.
And they're like, excuse me, Senator Gabbard, I don't think you should be bringing Russia propaganda into the meetings. But, we see a there's a clip here I want to play from today because we see a recurring trend. Mehdi, you said the flip-flopping, right? For the record, I was always critical of Tulsi for the reason that you mentioned. I want to see CNN.
I have a Tulsi I was right fund. You can Venmo me if you $1 is all I ask
right
from the
there.
people.
And I got hit from progressives. I said, as a Muslim, she seems to be very, very pro-war when the bombs are dropping on brown Muslims. But there's a recurring trend here with RFK.
I was told, how dare you call her a Republican? She is now officially a Republican.
So all three of us were right. We're just saying, we don't want to be petty, but we'll be a little bit petty. Yeah. But all these folks, these reeks for Trump, you notice them flip-flopping. RFK flip-flopped on being pro-abortion. Now he's pro-choice. But here's a clip. I want to play this clip.
Before you play the clip,
yes.
Just add one extra point, then we'll go to the clip, which is it's not just that they flip-flop. It's also, when you look at especially Kash Patel, RFK, and Tulsi, the three who are up today, it is that line from Succession. You are just not serious people. That is fundamentally, there are lots of politicians who are pro-dictator, but I can still take them seriously as serious figures. I cannot take RFK, Kash, or Tulsi serious.
Mehdi held up that clip because he wanted to do that Succession quote. And that's okay, because I have done that before on shows as well. Here's the clip.
Brian,
if President Trump orders you to withhold appropriated funds from the Inspector General, will you refuse that illegal order?
I don't believe for a second President Trump would ask me to do something that would break the law.
Like a violent insurrection.
Well, this is a classic Gabbard moment for those of us who followed her for years. So when she was a Democrat, she still used to obviously attack Trump because she wanted to be president. Remember, she ran for the 2020 presidential nomination, took out Kamala Harris along the way on a debate stage. But I have receipts. I love to have receipts. Go back to April 2017. Trump bombed Syria. By the way, remember, Trump was anti-war. No, Trump bombed the Syrian government. He bombed Syria, bombed Assad. And when he did it, Tulsi attacked him, and she said, quote, he's behaving in an unconstitutional manner. She said he was anti the Constitution. He violated the Constitution, she said. So when she sits in front of Congress today and like a loyal Trumpist says, he would never ask me to do anything illegal. You said he did illegal, unconstitutional stuff in his first term. You said it. So yes, the flip-flopping, the inconsistency. If I go out today and say Donald Trump is Saudi Arabia's bitch, people will say, wow, that's very strong language from Mehdi. That's what his Director of National Intelligence said. Tulsi Gabbard said Donald Trump is Saudi Arabia's bitch. Today she sits in Congress praising Trump, attacking Democrats, flip-flopping on a bunch of issues, right? She didn't just flip-flop on Trump's illegality. There were even the good things she used to believe in, she flip-flopped on.
One of the things that she seems to have not fully flipped on is Democrats were really hammering her on trying to get her to call Edward Snowden, who worked for the NSA or worked for a contractor that worked with the NSA that leaked the fact that we're all being spied on, metadata, massive warrantless collection of our information. I think many of us agree that we should all know about this, that the leak was ultimately good. But instead of hammering her on the thing you just mentioned, Mehdi, and you tweeted something like this, about the Islamophobia or about saying, hey, you were against the unconstitutional bombing of Syria, and now you're saying he'd never do anything unconstitutional. How does that square? But here she was answering the question about Edward Snowden.
Gabbard, a simple yes or no question. Do you still think Edward Snowden is brave?
Mr. Vice Chairman, Edward Snowden broke the law. I do not agree with or support with all of the information and intelligence that he released, nor the way in which he did it. There would have been opportunities for him to come to you on this committee or seek out the IG to release that information. The fact is, he also, even as he broke the law, released information that exposed egregious, illegal, and unconstitutional programs that are happening within our government that led to serious reforms that Congress undertook.
Yeah, that wasn't even the worst of it. I think Michael Bennet went even further and insisted she called him a traitor.
Yes.
And yeah, you got Democrats slamming her on the one good thing she did, which was stand up for Edward Snowden against the national security establishment. But today, I mean, you're more generous than I am, Francesca. I actually think she did throw him under the bus there in that answer. She said that he broke the law and I didn't have the full information and he could have come to you. That's not true, actually. And there's no time to discuss it now. But
right.
Go and look at the Edward Snowden case. Actually, the paths that were allegedly open to him were not open to him, and they're not open to a lot of whistleblowers from the NSA and the security world. So it was sad to see that. She wants power, so she's willing to switch on surveillance. She's willing to switch on Snowden. But Democrats are so embarrassing when they try and attack Republicans from the right. It is the most annoying thing that Democrats do is, I've got a right wing in front of me. Let me come at them from the further right. And no, you could
get to the center this way.
They could have made a big thing about how she has helped demonize Muslim immigrants in this country.
Right.
She co-signed onto a Republican bill back in the day, which said that Christian and Yazidi and other minorities from the Middle East should be allowed into America, not Muslims, right? They should be prioritized by religion. That kind of stuff They could have called her out for it, but they didn't.
I even think the Snowden. But I know we have to move on to Patel, but like the Snowden thing is so revelatory that the Democrats left that on the table because it is broadly supported even by xenophobes that we have some kind of privacy in this country, right? That our data shouldn't just be like randomly collected. Right. It's wildly popular to say that and to ask her, how would you treat a future whistleblower who is seeing something that was being done to the compromising Americans' security, or data or privacy? What would you say to that? Would there be
avenues? They gave her brownie
points.
points. They actually made her more popular with the mainstream without realizing it.
Eric Holder, who was Obama's attorney general, if memory serves me correctly, did come out later and said he supported a commutation, if not a pardon, for Edward Snowden. This idea that everyone must insist he's a traitor is absolutely said. I don't agree with everything Edward Snowden says, but what he did at the root was absolutely valuable and essential for the United States of America. And by the way, you see Warner going there. Is he brave? Well, whether you agree with him or not, he was clearly brave. He literally gave up his entire life, went up against the strongest government in the world, and is now hiding out in Putin's Russia, of all places. So, yeah, I think he is brave, regardless of whether you agree with him or not.
Speaking of good things coming through, so do bad things. We talked about RFK Jr., we talked about Tulsi Gabbard, and here to make you feel less safe, we have Kash Patel. And as I say, as the son of Pakistani immigrants, as the ambassador of all brown people, brown kids don't let brown kids grow up to be Kash Patel, a completely unqualified individual who has no law enforcement experience, who will most likely get the votes to be the head of our FBI, who went on Steve Bannon's show, folks, and openly said that he will use that perch as the head of the FBI to go after Donald Trump's critics, which include, first and foremost, media critics. Mehdi might be on that list, and political critics. He is a person who has platformed conspiracy theories, lies, and actually normalized some of the worst hate mongers. And maybe, just maybe, folks, if you're the head of the FBI, maybe you should be against, a violent insurrection. Maybe you shouldn't, be cozy with violent insurrectionists. And I want to play you 2 clips from Kash Patel's hearing today. Here's the first clip. Simple question he couldn't answer.
Can you say the words, Joe Biden won the 2020 election?
Joe Biden was the president of the United States.
I'm going to stay on this. There's a difference. I can say the words, Donald Trump won. I don't like to say it, but I must say it.
And speaking about January 6th insurrectionists, remember that choir? Of course you do.
Here's what you told Steve Bannon on his podcast. So what we thought would be cool is if we captured that audio and then, of course, had the greatest president, President Donald J. Trump, recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Then we went to a studio and recorded it, mastered it, digitized it, and put it out as a song now releasing exclusively on the War Room. We. If you had nothing to do with it, Mr. Patel, why did you tell Steve Bannon and all his listeners that you did?
That's why it says we, as you highlighted.
Yeah, and you're part of the we, right? When you say we, that includes you, doesn't it, Mr. Patel?
Not in every instance.
Well, that's new. So when you said we, you didn't really mean you. Is that your testimony?
Not unless you have a new definition for the word we.
Oh, okay. I always thought we included the person who pronounced the word.
This is not an episode of Veep. This is 2025 America, Mehdi.
First of all, my head hurts. That's the 3rd time I watched that clip today, and my head hurts. I'm amazed that Adam Schiff was able to keep a straight face during that. I would have
barely
did. He was like, okay.
I mean, Adam Schiff's like, torturing the English language. Forget torturing people in Guantanamo Bay. Bill Clinton famously said, and it depends what is means, right? This is now what we means. Anyone who's watched the clip of Kash Patel and Adam Schiff read it out knows he was talking about we, me and you, Steve Bannon, us, MAGA. We got together and got these insurrectionists to sing a song and get it to #1 in the Billboard charts or whatever it was. He bragged about it going to #1. He bragged about it on the War Room being his production. And now, under oath, he just lies. I find the irony of Kash Patel, of all people, lying under oath amazing, because he's going to be director of the FBI. It is illegal in this country. It is a criminal offense to lie to the FBI, which is ironic now because they will have a director of the FBI who in 2022 pled the 5th when he was called in during the hearings over over January 6th. And now today, he lied on multiple occasions. He lied about his role in the January 6th choir, which Trump was involved in. He also lied about...
there was a choir. They really had everything. They had merch, they had a choir,
he lied about QAnon.
Petting zoo.
He lied about QAnon. This is a guy who's pushed QAnon conspiracy theories. In fact, he signed the QAnon motto on his books, right? Where we go one, we go all. He signed that in his books. Today he claimed he had nothing to do with QAnon. He doesn't know anything about QAnon. He was asked about a podcast. I don't know if you saw that clip where he was asked about a podcast.
I have it for you, but please, this is beautiful. Give me the assist. Set it up.
So
talk about Stu Peters.
Stu Peters is a far-right, crazy kook conspiracy theorist, kind of COVID denier, has platformed Nazis, says outrageously anti-Semitic, crazy things. Kash Patel's been on his show many, many times. When he was asked about it today, let's see what he said.
This is thanks to Ron Filipkowski. He did the supercut. I had to say that. So shout out to Ron Filipkowski.
Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Stu. Always love coming on your show.
Kash Patel, thank you so much for making the time to be here with us. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Stu. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Stu. Appreciate it. See you soon.
I got to go, Kash. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
Thanks,
up against a hard break here. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it, Stu.
Kash Patel, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Stu. Appreciate it. You've got a great show.
Thank you.
So that was him on the show. What did he say today?
Stu Peters. Does that name ring a bell?
I'm sorry. What?
Are you familiar with Mr. Stu Peters?
Not off the top of my head.
He made 8 separate appearances on his podcast. He promoted outrageous conspiracy theories and worked with a prominent neo-Nazi.
Gotta love evidence.
I mean, I've never seen people lie as shamelessly, as brazenly, as repeatedly, as demonstrably as the Trump people. It's amazing to be like, he didn't just say, I do not recall, which is the standard, lie you say in front of Congress. He went, who? Not off the top of my head. We just saw him 8 times saying, love being on your show, Stu. It's amazing. You're under oath and they just don't care. And when it really bothers me when like normies, people who don't follow the news like us 3 freaks, when normies say to me, politicians, they all lie, Mehdi. Trump lies, they all lie. No, nobody lies like the Trump people. I have followed politics in 2 countries for 25 years. There has never been a group of people who lie like Trump and Kash Patel. And even today,
the whataboutism also with everyone takes bribes. It's like, okay, but we're talking on a totally different level. I just want to ask you, what does it mean if Patel is confirmed and Gabbard is confirmed and you've got the head of the FBI? I mean, this guy going on these white nationalist podcasts, Steve Bannon's War Room. Like, I've been very afraid, I think, even for an outlet like Zeteo. And given the tech oligarch, high five, all left, if any ounce, because there's very small amounts of leftist media and everyone should be supporting Zeteo, please, whatever you can. There's such a few of us, and all that is going to be surveilled, monitored, demonetized. Like we are in for a ride, to say nothing of the people on the streets and social movements.
Oh, 100%. I think a couple of things to answer your question. What does it mean? Number one, it means that these people are the most hypocritical people in the history of mankind. When they go on and on about meritocracy, as you both pointed out at the start of the show, and you have Pete Hegseth, the most unqualified man in our lifetime to be defense secretary, Tulsi Gabbard, the most unqualified person to be director of national intelligence, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the most unqualified person to be health secretary, and now Kash Patel, who, hold my beer, beats all of them. All 3 of the people I just mentioned are more qualified to hold those roles, God help us, than he is to be director of the FBI. This guy was a public defender who became a bag carrier for Devin Nunes in Congress, helped push all the Trump paranoia nonsense, lies about Russia, etc. Then gets promoted at the very end of the Trump administration to chief of staff for the acting defense secretary. Trump tries to make him deputy head of the CIA. CIA chief says, I'm going to resign. Completely out of his depth. Writes children's books for the last few years praising Trump, children's books about Trump.
Yes.
He's
now, such a fanboy.
Is suddenly director of the FBI. That is astonishing, right? And this is a guy who's going to make Hoover look like a card-carrying member of the ACLU.
Yes,
Why mentioned this quote earlier? He said, I'm going to come after people. He said this on the Bannon show. I'm going to come after the media criminally or civilly, right? This is the guy I said to a friend of mine recently, when you watch Hollywood movies, and Waj knows I love to watch a lot of action movies, a lot of action movies, Liam Neeson type movies, you suddenly have a twist where the head of the FBI or the head of CIA is the bad guy. There's the reveal, right? He's the guy who's been using the FBI to do his own personal dirty work. That is Kash Patel. You think Kash Patel's the guy who's going to be like, let's check with the lawyers whether we can tap that phone. Hey, guys, let's check with the lawyers whether we can send a bunch of agents around to someone's house. That's not who he is, right? These guys, everything they accused Biden of, weaponizing government, targeting your enemies, it was all projection. It's all what they plan to do. Every accusation is a confession. So we should be
100%.
worried about a loyalist, a bag carrier for Trump, a man who can't even say Joe Biden won the last election, a man who's openly threatened the media, a man who clearly lying under oath. He's going to be in charge of the nation's most important, most powerful law enforcement agency. Yeah, good luck to all of us. We need the support of the public to get through this.
But other than that, what do you really like about him? No, don't answer that question. Don't answer that question. Speaking about shameless, we're going to be talking about the media. But before we do, Mehdi, shamelessly promote yourself, sir.
I mean, what can I say? Zeteo, it's a small little media outfit that we launched nearly a year ago. We're coming up to our first anniversary. We appreciate all the support from the folks on YouTube who are watching right now. We appreciate you both, Waj and Francesca, for your vote of confidence in us coming on board to do this twice a week show. America Unhinged, as you pointed out, truly unhinged tonight. And one thing I said to both of you when I talked to you about doing the show is we really need somewhere in the evenings to cover all the crazy shit happening. And I think today's a day that justifies this show more than any other day.
Did you like this video? Don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel and turn on notifications. For exclusive content and to support our independent, unfiltered journalism, head over to Zeteo.com. Your support matters.